Did you know that you can lead without managing, but you cannot manage without leading at your workplace? If your role is beginning to feel a bit heavy, this might just be the reason why. In this video, we are unpacking the 7 differences between leading and managing and why it really matters for your mental and emotional well-being at work. Hi, welcome back to my channel. And if we are crossing paths for the very first time, my name is Nancy. I'm a former airline professional turned workplace leadership trainer. I've equally authored books on leadership and its impact on your bottom line. So you mostly find me on this platform discussing topics on matters of leadership, professional growth, career advancement, as you endeavor to protect your mental and emotional wellness. So if this is the kind of content that resonates with you, maybe you're already in a leadership role or you aspire to take up one soon, kindly consider subscribing. Press that notifications bell on your screen and you'll get an alert whenever I release a new video. And thank you so much for joining and growing with this community. If you've been thinking that leadership and management are one and the same thing, I've prepared this video specifically for you. Yes, you can absolutely lead without managing, but no one can manage effectively without leading. You know, managing can be exhausting without real leadership behind it. And the litmus test as you go through this video is, what practices have you been exercising that are adding into your energy bucket, and which actions have been depleting the same bucket of energy? They always say, where your energy goes, there your mind goes. And the plan here is to protect your mental health at all costs. So if you're ready, let's unpack the 7 differences. At number 7, managers focus on tasks. Leaders focus on people. You know that your brain is stuck in task mode when your days are just one big list of tasks. You know, you have to send that email. You have to prepare that report. You have to attend that meeting. You have to approve that budget. You have to follow up on a client. And your focus is all about checking off boxes, and even if it means working well past your scheduled hours, and sometimes without realizing it, connecting with your teams also becomes another task, another box to check. This is full on manager mode. You know, you're getting things done. Your day is made when you successfully get through the list, but at what cost? You know, we have this African proverb that has been used over and over again. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. In task fast thinking, it's very easy to miss the people right in front of you. You stop noticing how your team members are really doing because you need results. And when the people part starts fading in your agenda, relationships are automatically going to suffer. Leadership will flip this around. You know, connection fuels energy, disconnection drains it. And leadership will allow you to lift your head up from that checklist. It allows you to notice that team member who looks a little off today. Maybe they're unusually quiet, unlike their personality type, or that rising star who's ready to grow and, you know, and take on more responsibility. Leaders tune in. You see the bigger picture. You see your team members as human beings and not just boxes that need to be checked. And that's where you get to notice the smallest of changes within your teams. You know, when someone's stressed, when someone needs enough and, you know, just a little bit of encouragement, when someone's crying out for help, but they're carefully hiding it in a smile. And you're going to notice that it comes easily for leaders to create space which actually builds deeper connection with their team members. The moment you take even 90 seconds of your time to say, hi, how are you doing today? And you genuinely mean it with the right body language, you know, the right eye contact, and you're taking time to really see them for who they are. And when people feel seen, they're going to give their best. Loyalty is going to deepen both ways, and your days are going to feel lighter. The energy, you know, in the atmosphere lifts, and they feel it, and you feel it too. Why? You're putting people first. At number 6, managers control the process. Leaders inspire the people. Just picture this. Your calendar is back to back. You know, your inbox is overflowing. Then you have these daily KPIs. Then you've got the deadlines, and you're literally struggling also with the need to double check on your team members. You know, you want to look at their work, to revise, review, and even check the smallest of mistakes. Then you quietly convince yourself that if you can control every moving piece, you'll get through it and everything is going to turn out fine. So every day feels like a fire drill. That's management, because it's rooted in control. So you want to make sure that the process doesn't break down, and you find yourself managing who's doing what, when, how. You're checking every detail. All the pressure is on you to manage and fix what is or isn't working, and it can be exhausting for your mental health and even for your emotional wellness. Just imagine your team is running a weekly or bi-weekly client update meeting, which is quite a common occurrence for most high-performing companies. And you know that this is a group that has gone through proper training, so they should be able to deliver. But instead of letting them take the lead, you jump in, you outline the agenda, you preview their talking, who should talk before who, which tone should be used, what should or should not come up in the meeting, and you go as far as guiding the flow of the conversation every single week. So in their eyes, this becomes your responsibility, not theirs. And what happens is that your team is going to remain passive. They're waiting for you to do what you do best, take the lead. But as for you, you've added a mental recurring load. You cannot step away because you've trained your team members to fully depend on you. But week after week, that invisible pressure is going to build up because you have to be mentally on even before meetings start. And that's where the exhaustion and the burnout is going to creep in. And you're left wondering, why does everything always land back on me? It's the toll of controlling the process too tightly. And when you constantly control the process, you create that cycle of hyper responsibility. And this is going to hurt your mental and emotional well-being because you have to stay alert, always watchful, checking, worrying, because in your mind, everything depends on you. Leadership is different. Leadership says, I trust you. So instead of obsessing over the how, leaders focus on the why, and suddenly the teams just start completing tasks. They're committing to something that is way deeper and more meaningful. And then you find yourself asking the right questions like, how do I inspire my team members to move forward? Not because I'm micromanaging, but because they are motivated and connected to the bigger vision. So now you can step back and breathe easier. And that shift from control to inspiration is what is going to free you mentally and protect you from burnout. At number 5, managers create pressure. Leaders create safety. In high pressure work environments, stress spreads fast. It's like an emotional osmosis. One anxious email, one sharp tone in a meeting, one cut remark in the messages, and suddenly the whole team is on edge. People start triple checking their work. No one dares to speak up in meetings. Everyone is walking on eggshells because the environment feels emotionally unsafe for them. And this kind of stress is contagious. Managers will unintentionally pass this pressure down through that anxious energy, the last minute demands where everything feels urgent. There's more of asking your team to just go figure it out, you can feel the very uncomfortable silence, and this is what unmanaged pressure does. And the more it trickles down, the more your teams are going to absorb it. So as a leader, you're not just managing workflows, you are setting the emotional tone, whether you realize it or not. And if your team senses that you're constantly on overdrive and tense, they're going to mirror that out of survival. They'll match your pace and literally absorb your stress. So the result is a team that's wired to react before responding. Leadership does the exact opposite. It creates a sense of safety. So you have this intrinsic understanding that when your team feels safe, they perform better and they tend to support you more. And you know that your role is not all about driving results. Regulating the emotional climate is just as important for protecting everyone's mental health. So instead of constantly sending your teams to go figure things out quickly and get back to you, you're going to dive into the pool with them. More like, I know it's a crazy season and the timeline is tight, but let's figure out what's actually possible and we'll work with that for now. The rest we'll figure out together. And if you're telling your team members, if you feel like something isn't working for you, it's okay to speak up. So you're acknowledging the pressures, but you're also modeling calm and communicating openly. Like, here's what's happening. Here's what matters the most, and it's okay to speak up when things feel off. And with that sentence, you've just given your team members permission to press pause and exhale. You've created a safe space, and you'll notice that people will stop hiding mistakes. They're going to start owning up more because they know that there's a listening ear on the other end, on the other side, and not necessarily a government waiting for them from the seat of judgment. And you're going to see them collaborating more, and now it becomes a symbiotic relationship where they will consciously work to protect your peace because you're consciously working to create that safe environment. Pressure trickles down, safety lifts everyone, up, and the emotional safety is going to help your team perform better and equally protect your emotional bandwidth. You know, a tree is known by its fruit. It's an African proverb. So your team will bear a direct testament to your leadership. At number 4, managers ask for compliance. Leaders build commitment. If you've ever found yourself backing orders at your teams when the pressure is over the roof with those, last minute deadlines, that was the manager version of you at work. Like, I need this done by the end of the day. Please let me know when it's done. You're outwardly demanding action, no room for emotions. And yes, it's efficient. Things get done. The emails will be sent. The meetings will happen. The report will go out, but the energy is transactional. And it's more like just get in, get out, move on kind of vibe. And it's the kind of energy that is going to dilute trust and emotional connection between you and your team members. Think of your bosses who, whenever they address you, it's a case of deadlines that are yet to be honored or have been honored, but something is missing that you should have handed in maybe hours prior, or what to expect in the next coming days as far as your role is concerned. So it's all matter of factly kind of conversations. There's no how are you today or a compliment here and there or real check-ins. And at some point, you may start thinking, am I just here to get things done? Does my boss even see me? And when your team members don't feel seen, they're going to start entertaining the notion that they're just being used, but they're not valued in that organization. And before you know it, they stop caring beyond the bare minimum. They start doing just enough to stay out of trouble. They reserve all the new ideas to themselves. And by now, the same is probably happening to you. So in your head, you say, the feeling is mutual, and you stop feeling connected to the work. Everything feels like a chore, and you find yourself just pushing to survive the next deadline. Transactional energy empties the room of meaning. It's not that people are going to leave the organization right away. No, but they're going to check out emotionally. And once meaning is gone, burnout is not that far behind for both sides. Just try doing something that you don't like under a tight deadline. You get my point, Leadership, on the other hand, thinks long term. Looking at just the previous example that we've spoken about minutes ago, with your manager asking you to hand in a document by the end of the day, the leader version of you would actually admit to the demand, something to the tune of, I know this is so short notice, but here's the bigger picture. If we pull this off, it's going to create real momentum. Just tell me, what support do you need to make it doable? So it's the same deadline, same demand, totally different vibe. And here you're explaining to your team members why it matters and how it connects to the bigger goal. And you're building in a buy-in. And when people feel committed, when they feel like they're part of something big, they're going to show up differently. They're more than willing to carry the load with you, doing more than what's required. And you don't have to carry the emotional labor of pushing them. You're going to stop feeling like you're pushing a boulder uphill every single day because they're already in it with you. And this is what is going to make your leadership less mentally draining. At number 3, managers hold power, leaders empower. If you've ever found yourself saying, it's just easier when I do it myself, but then you start feeling burnt out because it looks like everything is on your shoulders, chances are high that you're managing and not leading. You're the central hub of everything and you prefer to keep decisions at the top. Easier in the moment can lead to long-term overload. When managers hold on to power too tightly with both hands, it creates that subtle ask me first culture where nothing moves unless you're fast. And these are the environments where you're going to hear the word insubordination being loosely thrown around for anyone who does not run their thoughts by you. And at first it can feel efficient, reassuring even, but over time it turns you into your team's emotional gatekeeper. Every decision, every next step, every little risk, it all runs through you. Say someone in your team wants to make a small process improvement, and instead of doing it, they send you an email, like, hey, I'm just checking if you're okay with this. And you both know that it's something that doesn't necessarily need permission, but you still say, okay, go ahead. But now multiply that by 10 times a week from 5 different people, and now you're the decision bottleneck. You're not just holding power, you're holding everyone's progress, and your mental space is cluttered with decisions that are not even yours to carry. Leadership is not about hoarding decisions, it's about growing people, and growing people who feel trusted to make them. And if you take a closer look, holding on to power too tightly might be a case of trust issues, lack of trust in yourself or your teams. Like, if I let go, who am I if things fall apart? And what if they mess up? That emotional strain can be exhausting. Leadership lets go. It invites others in, like I trust you. You've got good judgment. Just run with it. And if it doesn't work, we'll course correct together. And this would be the approach to the team member who wanted to tweak a process. And just like that, you've lifted the weight off of your shoulders, and you've also given others room to take ownership, to take risks, to make mistakes, to grow, and to feel like they actually matter in the process. Empowerment is not just a buzzword, especially if you work in those high pressure work environments. It's actually a healthy way to share power because it reduces stress for everyone, and more so if you are keen on leadership that protects your mental well-being. So consider giving your team members space to lead, and you'll have space to breathe, and the lighter your mental load is going to become. At number 2, managers solve problems. Leaders develop problem solvers. Just give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. You're probably guilty of being the fix-it person in your teams. Someone asks you if you have a minute and you already know it's something that they could sort out themselves, but you still jump in. You fix it, you answer it, you carry it. So people keep bringing problems back to you because you're the fixer. That's managing, and it's fast, but it's not sustainable. Constantly being the fixer can actually lead to burnout for you. It feels helpful at first, you feel competent, energized, but over time it becomes a trap. Everything lands on your lap, and now it's like you're running around plugging leaks in a boat that never stops springing holes. So every time you jump in to fix things, you're teaching your team members to bring problems to you, not solutions. And what it does is it wears you down quietly, both physically and emotionally. Then you stop feeling like a leader and you start feeling like a firefighter. Again, perfect recipe for burnout. And leaders know this, so they'll focus on helping their team members to learn to solve problems themselves. Leadership means resisting the urge to jump in. So instead of, I'll take care of it, a leader would say, what do you think we should be doing here? They're keen on growing their team members' skills, stretching their problem-solving muscle through critical thinking. You want your team members to have confidence in their abilities to face work-related challenges. And then over time, the dynamic shifts and they start solving more problems on setting they're setting you free from the 24/7 problem-solving hamster wheel. At number 1, managers think short-term. Leaders build for the long term. If you're stuck in survival mode, that's short-term managing. Managers get stuck in today's fires. Your biggest focus is on fixing what's wrong right now. And you're bouncing from one issue to the next. Like, did someone drop the ball on a deadline? Did a client just make a last-minute change? Does your team need clarifications on a specific task? And you're literally reacting to the next emergency, to the next delay, any unexpected issue. And it's not how you planned your day, but you spend it putting out fires anyway. You do not want every day to feel, say a report is late, someone's out sick, a client is upset, and your inbox is tipping over. Instead of taking a step back to delegate and rethink your strategy, you dive in to fix it all because you feel like it's faster. But now you spent your whole day putting out fires, but none of the long-term priorities has moved an inch. And on top of it, you're constantly drained because your mind is always responding and not breathing. And that's what happens when you're stuck in manager mode. Just imagine being, it's an example, imagine being the only adult at a kid's party. You're here refilling snacks, you have to clean up the spills. You're called to settle arguments, and you still have to make sure that no one breaks everything. So yes, you're busy, you're needed, and you keep it all together. But at the end of the day, you don't get to enjoy the party. That's what managed fires feels like at work. You feel like you're cleaning and mopping a house with a leaky roof, but the rain doesn't stop. Leaders, on the other hand, will keep one eye on the bigger picture. They know that leading for the long term doesn't mean ignoring what's urgent. It means making intentional choices today that will protect your time, protect your peace, and your team's strength tomorrow. So they're always thinking a few steps ahead, like, what kind of a team am I building? What systems will make this smoother next time? Will I be proud of our team culture 6 months from now? And now, they don't just fix, they design it. It could actually mean taking a little extra time to coach someone, or investing in hard conversations to usher a team member into their strengths. Say there's this one person who keeps missing details in their report, and it's almost becoming public knowledge. The leader in you would actually call her out, uncomfortable as it may look, something to the tune of, let's take 15 to 20 minutes and walk through how you're approaching this. I want you to beat it next time. Calling them out respectfully goes to show that you've both identified where the problem is, and you're willing to hold their hand through to finding a solution. But 1-2 weeks later, it's no longer a problem. You're not fixing anything anymore because they've grown and they can independently figure it out, which means less stress and more well-being for you both. You see, you can lead without managing in the traditional sense, but you cannot effectively manage if leadership is not an active verb in your book. If the content resonated with you, please clue me in the comments section with just one word. What spoke to you the most? And all in all, I do hope that you got value from this video. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't joined this community yet. And also share it with a friend or two who you believe may benefit from this kind of content. And also, please take a moment to have a look at this video right here on how to burnout proof your leadership role. It adds more weight on certain aspects that we've discussed on this video. Thank you so much for your company, and see you on the next one. Bye.